and welcome to Bible Verses 101. Now, Bible Verses 101 is created to empower our motivational verses in the Bible. Another week, another great episode. Right, Miss Jackie?
Yes, I picked a really familiar one this time around that a lot of people will know by heart.
Yes, familiar, familiar indeed. Just like John 3:16 in the New Testament. So, Miss
Yes.
Jackie, with no further ado, what is our verse of the day or verse of the night?
Yes, so I'm going to go into the Old Testament this time around into Jeremiah 29:11. So I'll read from the New International Version, which is, oh, let's see. Let me grab it. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future.
Hope in the future. Oh my goodness. I like the verse. Miss Jackie, it's something will empower you the whole week. Not the whole week, the whole year, the whole century, the whole decade.
Right, exactly.
Mm.
I love it. Yes.
So, Miss Jackie, tell us the Jeremiah 29:11 is one of the most quoted verses for personal encouragement. But in its original context, who was God speaking to and what a specific future and hope he was
Yes,
promising?
absolutely right. So, in context, historically, this was roughly the 6th century BC. That was a long time ago. It's about 600 years
Yes.
before Jesus was born. So, way before that. So, this is during the southern kingdom of Judah. And they were invaded by Babylon, led by King Nebuchadnezzar. And if anybody's familiar with that, they know what happened with that and how they were taken from Jerusalem into Babylon, and then we know about David, or not David. Oh, gosh, Daniel. I can't remember his name.
No worries as well.
In the
You
lion's
said
den.
David. They
Yeah, who
know.
went in
They know.
Daniel? Yep, who went in the
Yes.
lion's den, right? So we
Yes.
know how they were opulent, right, and they didn't follow
Yes.
God's laws or anything like that. So there was they were in exile at that time, so there was all that idolatry, the injustice, the disobedience to God's covenant. But we know, during that time he told them, you're going to be in exile for about 70 years, so they knew they had to endure that. But he wasn't going to leave them, right? So that's why it talks about, i'm I'm not gonna. I know the plans I have. I'm going to prosper you, and I'm going to give you a hope and a future. So even though they were in those hard times there during the exile and being in Babylon, and facing all of that, it wasn't the end of the story for them.
Yes. This verse is aligned with God's response. If you're praying, is they saying, "Oh God, why you not answering my prayers?" Either
Right.
no, yes, or maybe. Right?
Right.
If we say no, mean to say it will not prosper you. If we say yes, definitely it will prosper you and give you more blessings. If it's later, it's not your time yet. Yeah, okay, people. So the promise comes within a letter to a people in captivity. How does understanding the audience's despair and displacement change or deepen the meaning of this promise for us today?
Yes, it's so important because what's happening during this time is there were many false prophets. They talk about false prophets in the New Testament too, but there were many false prophets that were telling the people, "Oh, don't worry, you'll be back home quickly. So don't worry about the 70 years or whatever you're being told." But God corrects them, and through the prophet Jeremiah, He's telling them, He's like, yeah, I'm giving you warning," but they just wouldn't listen. So I think that's a key for us too, is that when we hear those clear signs, we need to not be not look at the false prophets or the false teachings, right? And it can be easy to fall trap into those. Even
False
today, I think.
teaching. Yes, even
Yeah,
today, they are widespread and rampant religion. They
absolutely.
proclaiming the God is Savior, but at the end, they are one of the false religion. So
Right.
be careful. Be careful, people. So the verse promise our future. you seek, but preceding verses command to exiles to settle down for 70 years. How does this tension between immediate obedience and a long term hope redefine what it means to wait on God's plan?
Mm. Yes. So, yeah, what I think is really interesting is that when it we t- when we go back to the plans, right, and we look at like I talked about earlier, the Hebrew root of it. We look at the plans here is it means God has intentional, thoughtful designs for His people. I like to hear what ChatGPT said. He's not winging it. I really like that, Daniel. He's not winging it.
It's
So
not ringing it.
mashkavat is the Hebrew word. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then prosper means that we're rooted in shalom. A lot of people will know the Hebrew of shalom. What does that mean? That means peace. That means wholeness,
Yes.
well-being, even flourishing, right? Not just money or
Mm.
success, but it means that flourishing. So even when they're in exile, and we may be in exile in some way, metaphorically or something like that, but it's a way to look at that. We can have peace even in that exile, or even in that hard time that we're going through. So yeah, it says when God says I'm going to prosper you, it's tied to that shalom, so that deep sense of
Yes.
that wholeness and peace. So even when things aren't going our way.
Definitely, God will prosper you. Just listen, and for sure, He will give the best of the best of the best. It's hard to wait, but it's worth it. It's if
Absolutely.
it's not your time, God will say no, and of course later. So wait for it, people. Wait for it. Patience is virtue, as they said. And Miss
Yes.
Jackie, is this primarily a promise to a nation about their collective restoration, or it can be a rightly applied as a personal promise to an individual believer today?
I think it can be both. I don't know what you think, but I think it can apply both. I think it can apply across, a whole entire community or nation, church, and then God can also apply it at an individual level. That's what's wonderful about God and his promises is,
Yes.
yeah, he can take and cast a wide net, right? Or he can actually look at the individual. And that's what's really beautiful about that. So what's really interesting too is when we look at the hope, right? That it says, I'm going to provide you hope in a future. So it's interesting because ChatGPT said the picture of that is like a cord or a rope, something you can hold on to. I love that
Yes.
idea. Yeah. So you hold on to that rope, and that's him tethering you. So yeah.
Yes, definitely. And the word of God, people, is everlasting. It applies anytime, anywhere, even the end of time. From the
Yes.
beginning and to the end. It said Alpha and Omega. And Miss Jackie, how can this verse be misused to support prosperity gospel mindset? And how does a correct understanding guard against that?
Mm, yeah, that's so true. I think it's important to see that we don't want to look at it as immediacy, right? That sometimes we need to be able to look to the Lord and say, well, like you said earlier, it may be not yet, or it may be just yeah. So I think it's important to,
Earlier, yeah.
yeah, to look at that and just, I don't think anything with the Lord is going to be quick and easy, because when we go through those times, it's just going to be able to strengthen us and give us that resilience. I think that's so important. So yeah, so I think it's good to look at the prosper part not as
Hmm.
maybe worldly success or worldly riches. I think it points more towards eternity and those eternal things, that things can't, like we talked about last week, that the the world can say, oh, this is great, you'll love this, but eternity is going to be so much better. So having that eternal
Yes.
focus. Hmm.
Eternity. And people, it's hard to follow God because once you say yes, you totally already refine like a diamond. Yes. If we say yes to your prayers, mean to say the trials and everything that God gave you, you pass it. That's why you say
Right.
yes. That's your time. That's your time to shine like a diamond. But before those, the diamond is rough. So
Yes.
mean to say, you are polished by God through His words, through His doctrine, through His uh, advocacy to be a good Christian.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And Miss Jackie, in our culture, prosper often means financial or material success. What did prosper mean in the Hebrew context, and what is it richer, more holistic concept?
Yeah, so I think what's really great is when he says plans to prosper you, that's again tied back to the shalom, that sense of wholeness and peace. So I think it's important to not look at the physical or the monetary things, but look at what does that word actually mean. And maybe someone can look that up and see what that shalom means. And and even too, I know people that are Jewish. I have a little bit of Jewish in me, about 3%, I found out recently. So when someone says shalom, shalom, that's they're giving double blessing. So it's
Oh,
beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So that's
shalom, shalom. So can we
yes.
use it too, right? More blessing and more blessings.
Right.
Okay. Awesome. Just believe in God, people, that give you all the wealth that you need, but you need to follow Him. And not just, I give you the wealth, but you are not following me. Of course not. I will not give you the kingdom of heaven. And
Right.
Miss Jackie, the exiles will die in Babylon, never seeing the full promise fulfilled. How does this verse speak to those in long, difficult sessions where God plan is not visible in their lifetime?
Yeah, I think that's really important to see that, because it may 70 years seems like a long
Oh
time. It's
my
like,
goodness.
whoo, yeah, that's a long time.
half of, More than half of your life.
Right. So, we think about that in context of human understanding, and it just seems like, wow, that's a long time. And some people died in that
Mhm.
exile. Some didn't make it to that, to see that promise on the other
The
side.
promised
So,
land. Yeah.
yeah, to see the promised land. And so it was interesting that you look back to like Moses, and you look at all
Mm-hmm.
the different individuals that stayed the course. And even though they probably realized they wouldn't be on the other side of that, and they wouldn't see the promised land, they still rooted their trust and their confidence and their hope in the Lord, and knew that they were going to be there on the other side of it, in another way, not maybe not physically here on earth, but in that other way. So yeah, so I think that's
Yes.
important. Right.
Yes.
So
Very important. If you compare that transition in their life from going to the promised land and the process of becoming obedient to God is in that course of their life, right? 70 years. So
right.
God said, I will give you the promised land if you obey me, right?
Yes,
And that
exactly.
time people are complaining, where are we? Where are we going? It's better to go back and everything like that. And if
Hmm.
we compare now in our modern life, we are like that too, right, with
Absolutely.
Jackie?
Oh
We
yeah,
always
because
complain.
yeah, because it's hard for us, and it was hard for them too. They didn't see that pathway home, right? They couldn't physically, or just they couldn't wrap their mind around that. And I think even today sometimes, but when he says, "I know the plans I have for you," that their perspective was limited, but his isn't. So it's amazing how our human understanding can't wrap around that, and that's why he's God
Mm.
and we're not. So yeah.
We are
Right.
only human being to
Right.
complain, to what, to do everything because we are saying that we are only human, and that's true, people. We are only human to commit mistakes, and thank God, because of His mercy, we are forgiven. And for someone who feels their life has gone completely off plan, Miss Jackie, through failure, loss, or their own mistakes, Or
Right.
does this verse speak not to replotting of their plan, but trusting God's larger narrative?
I think it's so important because, we might feel like we're in our own exile, right? Like we talked about before, and we've talked about this on other episodes too, like a health battle or job situation or something like that, that season of spiritual dryness. So I think uh, he's not saying sit tight until this is over and just plop yourself down, but he's actually, if you look even I think it's before this. I think it's before Jeremiah 29:11. He tells them to build houses, plant gardens, raise families, and then be able to seek peace where they are. So I think that's really important to have that perspective and see that even though we might be in that spiritual dryness, that he doesn't want us to be idle. He wants us to be active and seeking that peace in any way we can and where we're at.
Yes, peace. Definitely peace. And how do we reconcile these grand promise with the reality of our daily choices, like uncertainties and the need of for wisdom? Does it mean we are immune from making poor decisions?
Mm, yeah, I think it's so important. So I think we can look at like restoration, we can look at all those different things. Future with him. Just think about what that future will look like. And and really look upward, right? Look towards eternity. I think that's so important.
Yes.
Hmm.
Look on the promise of God. Hang on in there. Trust Him 100%. If you have a doubt, for sure, said God will test you. It's
Yes.
God. It's hard to be being tested. But if you pass it, 100% give you everything, the kingdom of heaven, everything that you want, the wealth, the what, the anything, the title that you want, like just like David. See, David
Right.
was tested, but well, he passed all those tests and he won the God trust.
Right.
So please, people, win the trust of God, and you will inherit the kingdom of heaven.
Yes.
And Miss Jackie, let's talk about how does the promise coexist with the reality of suffering, as what we're talking about. Testing, persecution and hardship in the Christian life isn't a guarantee of eventual or eventual unearthly ease.
Mm, yeah, I think it's so important that we have to look at that. God won't, no matter what we're going through, that hardship, that He won't abandon us. It even says in other verses, "I will never leave you or forsake you." So that's something I always uh,
Cling on.
think of
Mm.
myself. Yeah. So I think of that. So when something seems like it's impossible, or where it says things are impossible with man, but they're possible with God. So I think of those little nuggets and little pieces of verses that you can go back to, that you can say to yourself and remind yourself that He's not going to leave us or forsake us, even though we're in that spiritual dryness, or as they say, the valley, right? That
The valley
uh,
of death.
yes, even though we're in that valley of death, it says we don't have to fear. So that's
Yes.
what I love. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Again, trust in God's plan, people, because if you trust Him 100%, He give you all the things that you want.
Yes.
But for sure, God will test you. You need to pass all those tests so that you will given all the things that you want. And Miss Jackie, how do you or how do we shepherd others with a promise, ensuring you offer a genuine hope without creating unrealistic expectations?
Oh, that's a good question, Daniel. I think it's important to be transparent with people, and because it's so easy today with social media and all the different celebrities and
Mm-hmm.
well-known people, to look to them and think, oh, they have it made. And Yeah, you look to the influencers and stuff like that, and it seems like their life is all put together. And sometimes people do that
Curated.
on social media. Yeah, they do that on social media all the time. But I think if I think what people want today, even in what we do in podcasting, they want authenticity. And so I think it's important, even in our faith, with and when we're coming alongside others, and we're in that community, to have that authenticity. And it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to do that. And I think that's when I think people will honor that more, and they'll say, oh, so your life isn't perfect. You don't have the perfect house, you don't have the perfect family, nothing's perfect in this life. So I think it's important to have that authenticity and just be transparent with people. And I think what will happen is they'll open up to you, and they'll share what they're going through, and then I think you can find a common ground somewhere. So I think that's important. What about you? What do you think?
Yes, indeed, people. Don't compare yourself to others. Those things that you see on social media, though, are curated. You cannot see the people suffering from things that they are suffering because
Yes.
they choose to put good things on social media. So don't
Right.
compare yourself. The more you compare yourself, the more it will brings you down. Who will be the loser? You. And
Right,
they will
exactly.
laughing at you. So
Yep.
yes, don't compare yourself. It's
Right, especially
just
now
trust the
in
plan.
technology and AI and everything, it's
Hmm.
hard to tell what's fake and what's
Real.
real. Yeah.
Yes. What's real and what is true, genuine. But try your best to be a genuine and people will love you.
Right.
And trust what God's plan, as they said in Jeremiah. So, Miss Jackie, we crave a revealed step by step plan. How does this promise provide assurance without necessarily providing a specific roadmap we often want?
Mm. That's important. Yeah, because I think we do want those steps. We're used to that, right? We're used to being trained. Here's this five-step model, or here's this plan you can follow. And
Yes.
so yeah, so I think it's just one of those daily practices that you do every day. And we've talked about this before on other episodes. I think it's daily practice, time with God. I think that's the first step. And I think God, He meets us where we're at. So if, as long as we are there and we meet Him, and in that moment, then He will meet us there too. So, but He wants us to take that first step. So I think the first step is having that time with Him, and meeting Him there in those moments. So I think that's really important. Like in the Bible app, it actually has
Yes.
all those little Bible refresh moments. So not only the verse of the day, but it will actually let me see. Let me pull it up really quick. So,
Yes, go ahead.
yeah. So it says here, draw near to God and He will draw near to you. So I love that.
Yes. What amazing supporting verse for our verse for tonight, indeed. And Miss Jackie, how does this verse actively combat a fatalistic, whatever will be attitude, and instead inspire purposeful living? I say, que sera, sera. Ah.
Mm. Oh yeah, that's
Whatever
a
will be,
it will
will
be
be.
will be. I remember that song as a kid. I remember when I learned that as a kid. My grandmother would actually sing that to me.
Oh, que
Yeah,
sera, sera.
right.
Whatever
I there will
will be. Oh, what a nice
And then it's the
song.
future's not ours to see. Yep, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
Only
think that's
God's
a good
knows.
reminder. Yeah, exactly. I think yeah, I think we can look to Him to guide us, and yeah, just know that His promises are there no matter what we're going through. I think that's something we can anchor our hope to, and be able to have that anchor in Him. Yeah, cuz he'll keep us grounded, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Just believe in Him and cling on to the promise. So,
Yes.
if you could forever correct one common misconception about Jeremiah 29:11, what would it be, Miss Jackie? And what is the profound truth you wish everyone would carry from it?
Oh, I think that's really important. I think one common misconception is that he will get us out of it quickly if we just pray for it. That it'll just happen all of a sudden, like he's a genie in a bottle, right? We rub the
Yes.
little bottle, the genie comes out, and oh, what wish do you want? Right? That's not how God works. So yeah, so I think that's a misconception people can have about this verse as well. And then yeah, I think one big takeaway that we can have is going back to that shalom and knowing that shalom is that true peace and that well-being, that wholeness. That's what he wants for us. He wants us to have that wholeness and well-being. So remember what that Hebrew word is, and because I think some people, they know what shalom, they know how to say it, but do they really know what it means? So I think
Mhm.
knowing that that's what he wants for us. He wants us to have wholeness and well-being in every aspect of our lives. So yeah.
In every aspect, just believing in Him, cling to that promise, trust Him, and for sure you will be in the right path.
Yes.
And yes, thank you, Miss Jackie, for all those empowering answer. And amidst of the noise, which is I have a noise right now.
I wasn't sure if that was me or you because sometimes I get the I get them near my house too. So
Yeah,
yep.
we have a noise right now. So, in the midst of noise of self-help strategies and relentless pursuit of our own meticulously crafted blueprints, the ancient words of Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11 arrives not as simple promise of ease but as a radical call of trust and a narrative arc of a universe authored by grace. It is a verse for the exile, for everyone who feels displaced from their expected life, dwelling in the confusing Babylon of unanswered prayers and postponed dreams. Here, God does not hand us and derail mob, but instead reveals his character as the ultimate cartographer, whispering that destination is secure even when the path is obscure. This promise reframes our very definition of prosperity, shifting it with personal success to holistic peace. Shalom. Shalom. Miss Jackie, another great episode. And what will be your final piece for this verse?
I would say just keep trusting in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart.
Yes, definitely trust and trust and trust. And beware of the test. For sure, God will test you 100 times before you become a truly Christian, polished Christian. So, Miss Jackie, would you like to plug in something?
Sure. So if anybody would like to help with my podcast as well, Designing with Love, they can visit my website, Designing with Love blog, and they can connect with me on LinkedIn. They can also go to Buy Me a Coffee and support the work there and keep the mic on as well over at mine. So, yep.
Yes. Let's support Miss Jackie. Please do listen to her podcast, Designing with Love, right, Miss Jackie?
Correct. Yes. Hmm.
Yes. And wherever you listen your podcast. And of course, your upcoming book. Please plug in your upcoming book.
Yeah, so the manuscript's pretty much done now, and I'm going to start reaching out to publishers probably next week, maybe, or I might wait till January. We'll see where things go because it's the holidays, but at least I want to get them out there, and then hopefully by spring or summer, maybe of 2026, we'll see how things
Yes.
go. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see what there. We looking forward for that, Miss Jackie and people. More to come. Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.